We've been waiting for Govee to release the new software update for the FlowPro light bars for weeks now. And when Govee dropped the 4.2 app version, we knew that we were getting really close. Well, that wait is now over. The firmware is here, and the FlowPro light bars have quietly ascended into uncharted territory overnight. For this video, we're going to do a deep dive on the new features and improvements. We'll perform some test runs and live demonstrations, and I'll air out any gripes and shortcomings as it all stands today. Hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Here we go. Take note of the stamps in the lower right hand corner. We'll kick things off with music mode and work our way downward. Now, prior to consenting to the 1.01.02 upgrade, Govee mentions that both music and scene modes have been optimized within this firmware update. Now, I'm still testing this out to better understand what this fully encompasses, but the most apparent new addition is that the FlowPro bars are now able to sync using the microphone on your cell phone in addition to the internal mic on the controller. When using this feature, it unlocks a third music mode in addition to the previous dynamic and calm presets that Govee has dubbed Party Mode. Now, this is a very flashy light sequence that creates a disco kind of vibe. You can have the bars cycle in between traditional RGB colors, or you can add more colors to choose from within the My Colors subsection. As for scene modes, I've been working to pinpoint just how these have been optimized because presets appear to be virtually identical in look and performance as before the update. But if you caught any tweaks that I may have overlooked, make sure to drop me a comment down below. Feel free to pause the video here if you'd like to read through all of the 15 scenic modes that the FlowPro bars have to offer. Color segment control. Guys, this is a big one. The FlowPro bars now grant the user a comparable level of control as with the Immersion and other Govee RGBIC light strips. Now, these features are all available within the Color tab, not to be confused with the DIY tab, which allows for customizations of preset light effects or by using the Color Pick feature. I've been testing out the new segment control feature over the past few days, and it works really well. There are 6 dedicated sections on each of the light bar panels for a total of 12 independent IC areas, and we now have full control over each and every one of them. You can create your own custom effects and all sorts of custom patterns to suit your individual style for each bar independently of the other. Additionally, you can manually adjust the brightness levels for every section from 1 to 100%. And you can even shut off a light section altogether to create some next level ambiances. And after you have generated a number of your own multicolor effects, you can then rename each one and even reorganize them within the My Colors Edit section. Now that we have this granular level of control, you'll probably be using the multicolor effects far more than the single solid colors. So simply tap the Edit button for the My Colors subsection, and then long press each of your effects so you can drag and drop them above your single solid color blocks. Another really cool option that's available now is that these custom multicolor effects now appear alongside other RGBIC light strips, including the Immersion. So with a single tap, these light effects that you create with your bars can be swiftly applied to other Govee products that support it. Alright guys, finally we come to the primary upgrade that we've been anxiously awaiting for several weeks now, the video mode update. Ladies and gentlemen, the FlowPro light bars can now sync video content in split screen mode. This means that the light bars are no longer tied to a single dominant color, so the primary color displaying across one half of your screen will be appropriately represented by the respective light bar. And let me tell you now, this is a real game changer. The level of immersion that we are able to enjoy with the Govee FlowPro light bars just went from like a 5 to a solid 8. The Philips Hue Play bars cannot touch this feature. Or for that matter, the fact that the FlowPro bars have individually addressable segments, as the Play bars have been tied to producing a single dominant color since their release back in 2019. So for anyone that's keeping score here, outside of luminosity, the FlowPro light bars are up by quite a bit. Now, when you are using this split screen feature within the video mode for the FlowPro bars, the light bars do not utilize the full power of the IC chip technology, as I honestly originally suspected, meaning that the light bars will not be able to leverage each of the 6 sections for each of the bars while syncing the color content across your screen. Obviously, this is a bit of a letdown, especially for those out there that are using nothing but the FlowPro light bars for their monitor or their TV immersion experience. But the positive here is that this means you're free to place the bars in either the vertical or horizontal orientation without sacrificing any performance. After about a month of using both the FlowPro bars and the Immersion 2.0 together for my TV setup, I decided to try mounting my original pair horizontally beneath my TV cabinet for a number of reasons that I'll touch on in a little bit. But I think I may have finally found the sweet spot for the ultimate immersive experience, because I'm actually starting to prefer the bars underneath my cabinet as opposed to the vertical mount setup to the sides of my TV. As shown here with a second pair of bars that I picked up to experiment with the update, once it's all said and done, I just might end up moving the tabletop bars over to my computer monitor, now that I have two Aura table lamps, which I primarily use to sync with my music while the strips are tracking the color across the screen. If you'd like to see a more detailed video on how I ran the wires and installed the light bars beneath my cabinet so that they fire straight back horizontally, drop a like on this video and comment down below MTS bar hack. Now with all that said, let's take a closer look at the video split feature for the bars. I'm currently showcasing the bars freestanding on top of my table lamps temporarily for simplicity, but you should note that if you have a larger screen like mine and you're not using the Immersion 2.0 alongside it, you'll get a better immersive experience with mounting the bars behind your TV or your monitor. You can see in these examples that both the left and the right bar are now tracking only half of the screen for the respective side of the TV where they're located, and it looks leaps and bounds better than it did just a few days ago before the update. You could even play around with switching the positions of the bars in the settings to create a less uniform contrast if you're feeling adventurous. But it's now more important than ever to make sure that the left and the right bar positions are correctly represented in the settings when you're going for the most immersive experience possible. The video full screen option is also still there, which is great because you never want to lose an existing feature in favor of a new one. And brightness and saturation adjustments are still accessible as well, in addition to the game and the movie mode toggles, which appear to very subtly speed up color transition. Game mode appears to be slightly faster with color swaps, and movie more gradual. Alright guys, sit back and enjoy the demonstration, showcasing both the video split screen mode, as well as a few custom multicolor effects that I put together to get the creative juices flowing. Let's get to it. So what do you guys think? Have you already done the update? And was it worth the wait? If you found out that this new release was coming from my previous Govee video, drop a comment down below, MTS Early Access. Let's wrap things up with my final thoughts and key takeaways. Though the firmware update 1.01.02 did not solve every single issue with the Flow Pro light bars, I have to admit that Govee did a bang-up job with this new release, as promised. They listened to the constructive feedback from their customers and made another huge step in the right direction. With these new additions, the Flow Pro light bars feel more premium, and the value proposition that they represent just continues to rise. I have 2 pair now, and I'm already considering picking up a third because of their ease of use and setup, and just how simple they are to move between locations. Moreover, another thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is that there appears to be a moderate improvement in color accuracy when using the video split screen mode as compared to full screen. I don't know if this is something that Govee specifically sought out to achieve, or if splitting the screen into 2 segments makes it easier for the camera to track what's going on, but I most certainly will take it. Now, the skin tone issue with the bars, as with the Immersion 2.0, still needs to be addressed. If we could get deeper oranges and even more yellows in place of the far too frequent magenta and purple color shades, I believe the FlowPro bars would start winning over more customers from competing brands, assuming that Govee is able to start integrating more TV color syncing products into the ecosystem and the dependency on multiple cameras is eliminated. There's also one other area that still needs to be addressed in the not too distant future, which I actually called out during my bars versus strips comparison video about a month ago. You see, when the screen is predominantly black, the FlowPro light bars sometimes randomly shift the color to red versus the dim white glow that the Immersion 2.0 consistently emits. And this was a huge determining factor for me when I decided to relocate my original bars underneath my TV cabinet. Because the reality of the situation is that this bug can really break the Immersion whenever it rears its ugly head. But with all gripes and nitpicks aside, if you made it to this point in the video and you're still on the fence about picking up the Govee light bars, hopefully this recap helped to make that dilemma a little easier to stomach. And if you already own this Govee product, just pause for a minute and allow yourself to smile, because this firmware update was a huge success and gives great cause for celebration. They're on the right track here. They're clearly listening and working very hard behind the scenes to provide us users with the best experience possible. There is definitely a ways to go where improvements are concerned, but right now, I'm pleasantly happy where things are trending. Well, that about wraps things up for this one. If you found any part of this video to be helpful, make sure to give a quick thumbs up and to subscribe for more content like this. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, peace.